I'm starting to hate my Apple Watch, to be honest. The usefulness is getting outweighed by the annoyance of it buzzing on my wrist all the time.
What non-traditional or oddball EDC items do you carry or have you seen?
10 episodes ago, I showed this off and I had so many people who started buying one for themselves.
And you know what'd be really funny if this is not an EDC
EDC related.
Can I show this? I don't think I can show this. What's up, everyone? Welcome to Carried Away, the weekly podcast where we nerd out about all things EDC gear and maybe try to teach you a thing or two while we're at it. I'm Bernard, the founder of everydaycarry.com, and I'm joined by our editor, Mikey.
What's up? Hope you had a good break.
Yeah, so if you're watching this, you made it to the new channel. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. It will really help the channel grow because we're starting from scratch. And if you're listening on a podcast service, I highly recommend getting the full show experience on YouTube. So you can watch us at youtube.com/@carriedawaypodcast because these episodes can get pretty visual. So today we're talking about knives, tech, and watches in our news segment. Then we got some more Q&A from the community. And then finally, we'll be looking at some pocket dumps from around the world. But first, we're going to look into the pockets of Mikey.
Sure. Today, we had talked about this. This is a new budget knife from Vosti. This is the new Acorn. And you had mentioned you didn't like it. You got one yourself and you said that not really your thing. It's kind of I'm kind of digging it actually. It kind of reminds me of, remember the old CRKT Squid? It's got that
classic.
that yeah. And then it's classic micarta and liner lock, and then it's like super simple. Righty only, but it's a reversible clip, but it's pretty fun. And this is kind of related to our questions later. I'm actually carrying a Skeletool for the first time ever. I've always had like the really bulky stuff. I've had the Wave, I've had the Signal, I've had the Free from then on, and then now the Arc. But it's kind of interesting. Probably not for me, but I appreciate it for what it is. It's just so heavy, even though it's all like skeletonized, like the name. It's all 5 ounces. I find 4.5 ounce knives heavy, and then I have this. So I don't know yet if I'm just like I'm gonna carry it over my Free T4, which is actually my favorite Leatherman after the Arc.
Yeah.
But
isn't the Free T4 heavier? Oh, sorry, T4. The
T4, not the P4.
The knife.
Yeah,
okay.
The smaller one. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm kind of switching it up, trying this out, attaching it to my bag and stuff. I still find it kind of heavy, but yeah.
Yeah, I thought the point though of the Skeletool is like it will be heavier than a knife, but it will be lighter than both a dedicated knife and pliers.
True.
Yeah.
It just kept on making me think maybe I should just go with a Knipex and stick to my T4. And it also doesn't have scissors. That's the big drawback for me. The scissors are probably the most used edge tool in my kit, and that alone is kind of deterring me. But I mean, I'm just giving it a try. It's also nice that for a lefty, it actually works out because I get to reverse flick it, which is part of our
cool.
Anyway,
yeah. Well, I appreciate you trying new stuff, and you're honest if it doesn't work out. So that's kind of how the game goes with EDC.
Absolutely.
Can you show us the pivot on the Acorn? I forget what it was. That special at all?
It's kind of like a brass. Let me see if I can get it in focus. It kind of looks like a. I don't believe so. I could be wrong. It's
just decorative.
Yeah, it's a decorative pivot.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like one of those shotgun shell pivots.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more decorative. It's different from what they usually use on the Raccoon and stuff. But it's fairly straightforward. Sub 3-inch drop point, budget steel, micarta liner lock. But for some reason, it's probably the same reason people like the Squid before. It's like
the little big knife kind of vibe.
Yeah, and I don't know why it's a qualifier. It feels friendly as a knife. I don't know why that's what comes to mind.
This guy's super lonely here. He's like, I just need a friend. I'm just gonna use. Yeah, okay, I understand. Cool. So nice update.
How about you?
I'm not really changing my knives. I don't know. I kind of have fatigue.
Yeah,
because I was just testing out the
the fancy pyrite.
The pyrite Bowie S90V Ti, Um, so I think like the more variations you add to what I thought was like the perfect budget knife, the original regular steel
The
pyrite,
alt.
it's like no, not even the alt. The alt is fine. But like when I first got CJRB, it was the pyrite in steel with dual thumb studs and the button lock.
Right.
And like it's a little heavier or whatever, but I was just like, yeah, this feels really good. Um, and I think it was maybe because the alt that I got was like micarta, and micarta doesn't super resonate with me. But anyway, it's just like
Same.
now this is like the Bowie style, and it's got like this fancier steel, and then it's titanium. It's like it's just like doing a lot that I don't really. That's not what I wanted the pyrite to be in the beginning. Because this like changes the value proposition, like all this stuff. So this is just like kind of far and away from what I'm used to with that. So
Sure.
I don't know. I don't know which knife I'm gonna go back to. I kind of have been playing with like full size bigger knives, even like the We Knife Nitro OG. So I'm kind of leaning towards going back to my a round square knife, that just little small.
I know. I was literally just looking at it before we started, and I'm like, I'm still kind of leaning towards the smaller stuff now. As doing my best to just try everything.
Yeah.
But it's just like I want something lighter. I just want something convenient and always there, and more functional than anything. I'm not really bedazzled anymore by the fancy stuff so much. Yeah, I just want something convenient and practical, and I still haven't. Yeah, after trying so many knives, I still haven't found like the one for me. Honestly,
Right.
yeah.
Well, that's
Forever a journey.
Yeah. Speaking of the term journey and other words that trigger people on the internet, especially when it comes to watch collecting, people hate that term. But I am trying to bring back my Apple Watch. This is a Series 5 that I just borrowed from my little brother. Series 5 40 millimeter titanium case on steel bracelet. And it's just a pain. I don't know, dude. I just want to like know how many steps I've taken and how well I'm sleeping, because I feel like lately my physical health has not been kind of where I want it, and like trying to get back into my fitness and stuff like that. But dude, it's like it just seems like such a hassle for what it is. But I'm like locked. I feel locked into the Apple ecosystem, and it's honestly kind of silly. Like I do feel kind of like stupid having spent a lot of money to just be in this situation. But yeah, I had to like dumb it down a lot, get rid of a lot of apps, turn off all notifications and stuff like that. And it's just funny. It like reminds me of why I like mechanical, like regular normie old watches like so much more. But I'm just having to give in to what is the quintessential timepiece, the Apple Watch. So not really my favorite, but I'm still testing it out because it does make me mindful of like my steps and my sleep and stuff.
You stopped me before I started to go on my rant, but I was just about to say before we started that I'm starting to hate my Apple Watch, to be honest. I haven't actually turned off the notifications because sometimes they come in useful, but then it's now starting to outweigh the usefulness is getting outweighed by the annoyance of it buzzing on my wrist all the time.
Yeah, to be honest, I kind of didn't hear most of what you just said because I did get something on my watch and it was like tracking a workout. Yeah, and then I was like, I'm not working out, so I had to like turn it off. So
yeah,
I'm sure it wasn't important. Go ahead.
The sleep tracking is useful. The unlocking the Mac is useful. Just that the 1 second of extra convenience, that's pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
The timer stuff is really, really useful, and it's the best alarm I've ever had in my life. Like it will wake me up. Because
it's on your
guaranteed.
body.
Yeah. And just that annoying vibration is just guaranteed to wake me up. But now that annoying vibe, you know how they say that should never put your favorite song as an alarm because eventually you're just gonna get it's just gonna piss you off. I'm at that point. I'm like 2 years into trying to complete my rings and everything, and that whole novelty has kind of worn off. It was super effective at first, tracking my sleep, tracking my steps, and closing the rings, and just being more mindful and active, and being active in the gym and all that. But a year later, year two, Oh boy, all I'm reminded of is just this annoying buzzing on my wrist that's just distracting me all the time and reminding me of stuff I need to do, and it's starting to not get helpful at all. Like
Mm,
maybe I'm just gonna just put it on like bedside to have my alarm, but it's not gonna be something start wearing regularly anymore. It's getting to me. It's really getting to me for
yeah,
some reason. Yeah.
yeah. Well, maybe you can take a break from it and then come
Mhm.
back like I will, and then be even more frustrated and remember all the reasons why you quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the last part to my update, it's kind of ties into what you're saying about just like, it helped me at first, but then now it's gotten to a point where it no longer serves me.
Mm.
Sometimes I feel that way about my phone, kind of just depending on my like mental health and like where I'm at. But um, I've had this Hisense A9 Pro. This is an e-ink Android phone. I've had this for a while, but I never got it set up because like it's originally for the Chinese market, so it's
Mm.
not like
Not
as
domestic.
friendly to use here.
Yeah.
But there have been developments in like the modding community where you can just like put Android open source on here
Right.
to get Android, I think 14. I think this came with like 11 or something like old. So I may, as an experiment, try to mod this thing and then like use it as a daily driver because it can replace my e-reader. I've been reading a lot of books lately, and then now since I've been buying physical books too, which is like
Mhm.
not EDC at all. They're
Yeah.
they're just not really designed to be carried.
Wait,
But
wait.
there is something. Yeah, go ahead.
One step back. So it's an Android phone, but it's in e-ink.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And
Gotcha.
so that will be good context for a piece of news later. But
Gotcha.
yeah, and then lastly, I have some stuff on the way. I'll show you when it comes, but it's a grade 5 titanium pen that works as a bookmark. And did I
Oh
need that? No.
no.
But I've always wanted to check out the brand, so maybe next week or something
Yeah.
like
Good
that I can
excuse.
show. Yeah,
And pairing with your purchasing of physical books, which is
exactly. Yeah.
it's always good. I mean, I really love the romance and the feel of reading a physical book.
I thought you were going to say romance novels,
No.
but
Well,
that too. Yeah, sure.
but that, yeah, but it just to me the reason I switched to a Kindle is because like it's hard for me to read in bed because it's such an awkward angle number
Mm-hmm.
one and the light
And the
is just not
lighting. Yeah,
yeah.
same.
So I've dropped it in my face enough times and have it be uncomfortable just like trying to navigate my way and be
Mm-hmm.
comfortable in bed while also being able to turn pages conveniently. Yeah, it just yeah. Again,
Yeah,
one
but
of
I'm
those
sure you
things
have
that
no problems doom scrolling on your phone. That probably
nah,
weighs more.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
no problem at all.
Curious, curious. All right, so let's jump into the news before we
Sure.
expose ourselves even more. I'm gonna start presenting.
So we're still in the trend of a lot of knives because my God, there are a lot of knives releasing lately. So
Yeah.
people might see the trend that we are trying to cover as many interesting knives as possible. I mean, even with the coverage that we do on the site, it's just there's a lot. Like just with Kizer, if you take a look at their new arrivals, they've produced like 30 knives in the past month, one for every day of the week. It seems like
Wow. Yeah.
it's like there's a lot. Yeah, we're trying to sort out through the really cool ones, and yeah. So this was the first one, the Kizer Smolt. I had shown it off on last week's episode,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's a simple sub 3 inch perfect camp blade. 3V is usually found in higher end fixed blades, and then it's a
Mm-hmm.
nice combination of G10 and micarta in the handle, and yeah, reversible custom Kydex clip, everything you want from a great camp knife or a great EDC fixed blade, even, and it's sub $70. So I think it's a really
Mm-hmm.
great value prop. It's a really nice shape,
Nice.
super comfortable. I wasn't expecting the comfort of G10 plus micarta. I'm usually
Mm.
favored towards G10, but this is really smooth, perfectly aligned with the tang of the blade. There's no gaps that's causing any hot spots or anything, even though it's like a tri-material sandwich
Yeah.
that's happening here in the handle. Yeah, it's really great. No
So
complaints at all.
what
Yeah,
is the experience like in hand when you have like it's micarta inlaid
yeah,
into G10, right?
yeah. So the micarta part is the black part in the middle.
Uh-huh.
It's really comfortable. I mean, it doesn't feel like burlap or denim micarta where it's kind of fuzzy.
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel like it's fraying or anything. It actually feels like one whole piece of G10. Honestly,
Mm.
it's really really smooth. They sanded it out, or they smooth it out for some reason. Plus with the chamfered edges, yeah, it's
Okay.
really really
Yeah,
super
I could see that.
comfortable. Yeah, really nice blade shape. Really comfortable. There's just enough jimping, not really aggressive on the top, but just
Mm-hmm.
enough if you need to do like harder cuts. Yeah, no complaints. And for $70 for a 3V knife, yeah, it's really I can't complain about anything at all. Honestly,
Nice.
it's one of my favorite fixed blades at the moment, just from the sheer value prop for $70. Honestly,
Yeah, sub 3-inch blade. Yeah.
and the designer's name is Jonathan Stiles. How cool is that?
Yeah. Oh, I have
Perfect.
the Kizer Militar.
Oh yeah, same guy, exactly, same
Yeah.
designer. Really
I
good
want
stuff.
to. This is. Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
So okay.
Jonathan
Um,
Stiles.
cool. How is the this blade thickness for what you use it for? I think somebody
Um,
on the first time you mentioned this and you showed it in your EDC update, they were saying
yeah.
that like fixed blades just are too thick to slice some things. I think they were talking about food
Yeah,
prep.
yeah. If you're expecting like a normal EDC knife that is kind of slicier, I have a thinner Montana knife company that's like super super thin. So
Mm-hmm.
that's great. So I would use this more for like the heavier task. If you're like actually chopping, well,
Mm-hmm.
let's be real. I've only used this to process boxes, and it's been
Yeah.
fantastic for that because like no match at
Yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you would expect a laser super hollow ground perfectly slicey knife. I wouldn't call
Mm-hmm.
it strictly a slicey knife. It's more, I would say it's more of like a chopper and more of a heavier cut stuff.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I would use this for food prep. I just had to treat the blade because it's not a stainless steel. 3V is not a
Mm-hmm.
stainless steel. I just had to put some EDCI on it and just to make sure that it doesn't rust or anything. I would, especially with the coating. The coating is also something that's going to get in the way of be having it be truly a slicey knife.
Mm.
But the thickness is just right. I mean, it's not super thick like a true like a tactical chopper or anything. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's exactly just right.
Okay.
And yeah,
Yeah, that's good context because I mean, I imagine there are some listeners out here who maybe don't carry a fixed
fixed
blade
blade.
or like
Yeah,
yeah. So just it's just good to hear your perspective on
yeah.
the applications of
It's
something
also
like this.
not like totally EDC friendly because it doesn't come with a clip. It's only this Molly belt attachment thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, standard practice for that is just to go to Ulti Clip and get one of their many aftermarket clips for fixed blades that'll
Okay.
let you pocket carry it or anything. But yeah, or you can just remove this. It's small enough that you can just slip the sheath in your pocket and just have it be at the ready. It's not a tactical thing or anything where it needs to be like you have a nice grip and it has
Yeah.
all like technical landmarks for emergencies or whatever. But yeah, I would say it's purely a something you would attach to an outdoors bag and have it be for camping or whatever, or have it for major processing stuff like
Right.
lots and lots of boxes, even for food prep, maybe. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Cool.
yeah. Really, really happy with it. Though. But again, for $70, it's hard to complain for 70
Yeah.
bucks. I would have expected over 100 for all of these specs put together, but yeah, they brought it down to 70, which is great.
Nice. So that was the
Sure.
Kizer Smolt 3V fixed blade. And
Hmm.
next up, we got Sencut. So,
Yeah. So if
yeah,
people aren't
what is
familiar,
Sencut?
yeah, if people aren't familiar, there is a triple company relationship between Sencut, Civivi, and We Knife Co. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like three price points, with Sencut being their most affordable kind.
Yeah, this is
And
sub
this kind of
50.
yeah, this kind of just stood out to me because the design looks like something more in the Civivi line than the Sencut. If you look
Mm,
at other Sencut knives, they're generally more very basic, like just
yeah.
basic drop point, reverse tanto, flipper, liner lock, very very basic micarta or G10 or FRN or something. And they're really designed to be just users and sub $50 price points usually.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of stood out to me because this kind of I really really like the design for this, and it's like an internal Sencut or Civivi design, and it's just a nice combination. It's a budget steel, 9CR18 mauve. It's a high carbon
Yeah.
budget steel, and just paired with G10 reversible pocket clip, flipper with thumb studs and skeletonized handle. It just stood out to me. It's just I just find it like a really interesting tactical slash everyday slash user heavy
Yeah.
duty knife. Yeah, so it's like we don't have to feature like $200 knives all the time. This one kind of resonated with me with a swedge design,
Mm.
grind, and very simple. And again, yeah, sub $50, hard to go wrong.
Yeah, I like the
Oh, there's a white version of it. I think you'd
Oh,
like
really?
that. Yeah,
Let me
if you
see
search for
this.
Excalis, there's a white G10. There you go. Ah,
Oh, in
pretty, right?
satin. Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of changes the vibe actually. I
It does.
might like it more in black. But
Yeah.
yeah, this is cool. Like I like the blade like to handle proportion. Looks like you get so much blade.
I know.
uh,
Another chopper. Another chopper.
yeah.
And it's like sub 3 inch, sub fifty
Yeah, just
dollars.
barely.
It's got a
Yeah.
lanyard hole and G10. I mean, really, really hard to go wrong.
Yeah.
Really good
So
value props. Yeah.
I think I remember what was it like the kind of normal budget steel before was what ATR 14
ATR.
MOV or
Yeah.
13 MOV, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It
ATR. So
starts with
this is
ATR. Yeah.
slightly better, but maybe not as good as what like 14C28N.
Yeah. I believe,
But
yeah,
those are
that's the
closer
best.
to like $75, right? Than like 45.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Sencut. If you like Wii knife, but that's kind of aspirational, or even Civivi might feel a little out of reach.
Mhm.
Sencut, same company.
This has
And
stood out to me. Honestly, this has stood out to me than most recent CVV knives for some reason. I just really like the design of it. It's like super not overdone at all, and
mhm.
like keeping it light, sub 3 inch, and really nice, like my kind of blade shape. It reminds me of the old Hinderer stuff.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
the
yeah,
old,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, the old
Especially
Hinderer
like
stuff.
right here.
Yeah, with the flipper tab and the like the compound grind and that blade shape. It
Mhm.
gives a lot of Hinderer vibes. So yeah, if you came from that generation of the old trio,
Yeah. How's your back feeling right now? I hope you're
I
okay.
know. Yeah.
Uh, okay. Uh,
See, 5 ounces heavy.
yeah. So cool. This is coming soon. $45.
Yeah.
Nice. So next we're looking at a watch. This is a collab between Marathon and Jeep.
Mm.
So some
Speaking
very
of
like
old school
rugged
EDC again.
outdoorsy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which one is your favorite out of these?
Oh man, the reason this is in our news cycle is because Marathon has been from the start. The GSAR and the TSAR have been kind of like aspirational tool watches since the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
as far as I can remember. They're just so freaking expensive. These are over
Yeah.
$1,000. I remember even the base GSAR or the TSAR started like 600 and then 800.
Yeah.
And then they had this design language, like you have it on screen. They have this design language where it's like a super deep
Yes.
um
It's pretty chunky.
dial with like
Very
the yeah.
Yeah, they're like fairly thick, super toolish watches,
Yeah.
but they are Swiss made. I don't think they're.
Is
I
it
think they're.
titanium?
Are they Canadian? I forget if Marathon's. Um,
Yeah, but
anyway.
they've been known as like the special forces watch. They've always been associated with that kind of like super tool, super duty,
Mhm.
overbuilt. I mean, it looks the part. Like it's like a flying saucer in there. It's just like 2 inches deep in that little.
Yeah.
What do you call that inner the inner circle of the rehat?
Hmm.
Yeah, the like a super deep rehat. It gives it at least 3 ATM, 300 meters depth rating,
Oh, 30
and
ATM.
30 ATM, sorry. Not
Yeah,
3
yeah,
ATM.
yeah, yeah. Not three. This is way more than that.
It's stainless
Also,
steel.
good
Okay.
to know.
All right.
This is Swiss made. So that's kind of why the price is up there. Just like when we're talking about Marathon in general. But yeah, what are some interesting features that are kind of specific to Marathon I think one of them is the use of tritium, right? So if you guys aren't familiar with tritium, it's like mildly radioactive material that excites phosphors in this in the markers that will then emit light, and they don't need an external light source to be visible in the dark. It's not like traditional lume paint. I think this might have lume on here somewhere. Yeah, it has both, right? Mariglow, lume, and then tritium. So that's like interesting for nighttime visibility, and you could really see that shown here. And then I think there are just other design elements from the Jeep collab itself. To me, like, well, I'm gonna be honest, I drive a 2013 Toyota Prius, so
I'm not a car.
Yeah, I know, I'm not much of a car guy, but I would imagine this is kind of like dashboard instrumentation vibes right here.
Yeah, and mainly it's interesting to me because this collab is the first I've actually heard of Marathon coming back with new products in a while. Like last I was looking at Marathon watches was like 2015, 2016 days. And then all of a sudden, they email us, the Marathon PR emails us and like, oh, we got some new Marathon watches. I'm like, whoa, I remember I really wanted one of these. It's just like, I'm super priced out of this. 1,200 for But it's that combination of Swiss made plus the tritium plus the super chunky tooling of it. Just like tritium in general just jacks up the price of any watch, really.
Interestingly, though, both of these models, not both, but these different silhouettes come in an automatic or a quartz model. Or sorry, this one's mechanical. I don't know if it's automatic. This might
G SAR, that's the designation. G SARS, the automatic. T SARS, the quartz.
Yeah, this might be hand winding instead. But yeah, and then here's the quartz version.
Yeah,
it's cool, like khaki brown, sort of like a patina already, but not quite.
Yeah, like kind of like a vintage patina style. Yeah, and I've also kind of found it really cool that if you like the style of Marathon, they have the exact same look. It's just that your choice of quartz or automatic, so you don't lose anything from liking the style, and it's your choice of which functionality you value more.
Yeah, but is there a choice? Because according to the internet, it has to be automatic or bust. Thoughts?
True. I think they're overthinking it. As with everything.
Yeah. So, I mean, I used to be like mechanical only, but then now I have some quartz watches, and then I kind of settled in like Grand Seiko Spring Drive, which is sort of in between them. But I appreciate both automatic or mechanical and quartz actually. I think so. We actually made a YouTube short about this, and that's probably our most watched piece of content, and it's just people arguing in the comments about quartz
because you're just inciting rebellion from each side. That's why.
Maybe because I was making a case for quartz. I think quartz for EDC makes sense because like if you care more about accuracy and like the performance of it, and you're not super, I don't know, you don't really value like the mechanical aspect and like the romance of like a movement and like a beating heart of the piece of gear on your wrist or whatever. Just like it's cheaper, it's reliable, and just like less maintenance, IMO. Like I don't have to worry about my quartz watches. I just pick them up and put them on. The other ones I have to like wind and set and all that. I don't have to worry about
whole you forgot to wear your automatic over a weekend, and most of them are 42 hours power reserve, right? And like it's that extra bit of hassle. But I wanted to ask, have you ever been into tool watches at all? Like the Zins?
Yeah, okay, my original grail was the Zin EZM1, and then I realized that like that's like at least 41 millimeters, if not 42 or 43, so too big for my wrist. And the original one, so also expensive. Yeah, and then I also wanted later a Zin 556i. I almost bought it but then I decided to instead invest that money and just like sit there and just wait instead of buying another tool watch. But
The U1
yeah,
is still
I
on my
like them.
list. I
Huh?
still want a U1 eventually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, the classic.
But I don't know. I think there's a for me, like when it comes to tool watches, I don't think I want to spend that much money on one.
True. Fair.
Yeah. Ideally, I don't want to spend much money on watches in general, but here we are.
Anymore.
$1,200. Yeah. Anymore. So anyway, interesting release from a brand that I think is not really talked about
Yeah,
enough.
like I said, they haven't been talked about in a while, and it's nice to see it again. Just bringing back that old love of tool watches and like the whole aesthetic of it. It's very, very me.
Yeah, so real quick, if you had to pick between the GSAR and the TSAR, difference is $300. What would you pick?
Oh my god, I'd go GSAR. I think.
All right,
GSAR.
yeah, might as well.
Because I'm not gaining anything much from having it be a quartz. Like if it were a chrono, I would go quartz definitely. Because not if it were a chrono in automatic, that would be like plus $700 or something.
Yeah. All right.
Plus, I want the accuracy for something like a chrono. But yeah, for a standard everyday, just normal day, yeah, I would go automatic.
Okay, I'll leave the audience to guess what I would pick, and you could comment that. And
we'll 41 millimeters, none of them.
I know, huh? Even these are still 41. But speaking of things that are overbuilt and bigger than maybe they need to be, let's look at the new Lightphone 3 pre-order. So I am into phones, which is funny because I have a fraught relationship with social media, being a TikTok influencer and whatnot. But Lightphone, if you guys aren't familiar, they had an e-ink phone that was kind of designed, where is it? This one, to be small and like doesn't have apps that are distracting from modern day smartphones. So this was kind of like built to appeal to the digital minimalist crowd, I guess.
So you
and
pretty much.
yeah, to some extent. I still haven't gotten one. I think it's not quite where I want it to be, but this new one is so the Lightphone 2 is e-ink and small, and it was $299, which is already kind of a lot. Then this new one retails at $799, but it's on sale for pre-order at $399. But this is supposedly better built. It has a user replaceable battery that you could just like unscrew, and interestingly, it has a camera now. And yeah, they're talking about designing this to be future proof. So it has like USB-C, 5G, NFC chip, this new like jog wheel, physical jog wheel on the outside, stuff like that, just like different features. So interestingly, I think this is not necessarily a successor because it's adding features that are maybe not valued by the people who would have gotten the Lightphone 2 to begin with. And one of those is the screen is actually, I think, OLED now. It's not e-ink.
It's reverse LCD. It's reverse.
It's matte OLED.
Okay, but
it's
a
custom matte OLED. Yeah, and like,
that's interesting.
So like, it won't help for the things that I would use e-ink for, which is like reading text and not having super high refresh rates, so I'm not just like watching TikToks and YouTube shorts and stuff all the time. But it does help for things that do have motion, like GPS navigation and texting. I think that's what made the older Lightphone like kind of hard. But anyway, I'm noticing that there are some people that, you know, are kind of tired of their smartphones and are kind of looking for different ways to stay connected. So I think this is just interesting to put on people's radar. I think it's like quite expensive for what it is, but it's one of those situations where yes, it's going to be expensive for what it is, but what it is so niche that like you're if this speaks to you, you're probably just going to have to pony up and pay for that to get what you want, because otherwise you could just get like, you know, regular phones.
Yeah, because I can imagine first reaction for most people is going to be like, so you're paying more to do less.
Yes. Yeah.
But then there is some value in that, right? Like we were just talking about, we spent all that much for Apple Watches, and it's now becoming a pain point rather than a benefit. And you wanted, now we're going to have to spend again to do something that can do less in the Apple Watch.
Yeah, but
Just
it's
to
less with intention.
With intention,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. And in a way, I think the argument or the logic behind it is, if you have less on there that's distracting or doesn't serve you, then you can do more of the things that you want to do and matter. And those might just be, calling somebody that's close to you on the phone, or like getting to where you need to go, or just writing down your ideas, and not necessarily
listening to our podcast,
consuming podcasts about EDC. And so if that's you, I hope to never see you again.
I think there is just one thing I just noticed. This is kind of like a very slightly kind of unfortunate design, because it kind of, that Rabbit series of products that came out,
very teenage engineering,
that people really kind of bashed about. That was like, Dave didn't like it, Marquez didn't like it, and it kind of looks like this. I feel like it's kind of a little bit unfortunate design wise, but when you get to the nitty gritty of it, it's a nice blacked out e-ink. I can see the value in it. I think,
but I will say that like that design language is like very teenage engineering. It's not necessarily Rabbit R1. So maybe if you could look past that.
Maybe if it had a crank, it would be. Remember that other one too?
The Play Date. I have one of those too. I still haven't opened it. I have it brand new in box. Haven't opened it. Didn't have time to play it. But anyway,
no play, no date.
Why you got to do me like that? Let's move on then.
Okay.
So this is Benchmade's new Bally. I saw this earlier at SHOT Show. They have trainers of it, but you included this because you're a Benchmade Bally fanboy, apparently.
I mean, Bally fanboy to begin with. It's part of our heritage as Filipinos, basically. And Benchmade hasn't made Balisongs since their last model, the 85. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they release this 99 series, which is the Necron. We've talked about it for a while, and it's already come out. It comes in 3 flavors. This raw jade G10. It comes in a red one as well, and it comes in a trainer version. And I mentioned this a few episodes ago, but this is basically, there's a lot of pros and there's a lot of cons to it. Pros being, it's nice to see Benchmade making Balisongs again. It's basically what put them on the map. It's their very first product. That's why their logo is a butterfly, because they first were making butterfly knives. And this has taken some of what the community has done in the past 20 years, where it's moddable. You can add weights to it. It's more in line with what a modern flipping Balisong kind of looks like. Flipper community, yeah. So it's taken some elements of that. It's not quite enthusiast level from what I've seen for people who own it already and who actually flip as a hobby seriously. And it's not quite like at the premium price where some of the higher end Balisongs are going to be, and are priced similarly. So it's kind of that in that weird Benchmade pricing space. But if you are a collector of Benchmade Balisongs like I am, like this is number 1 in my wish list right now.
So you haven't picked one up yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Well,
I'm still kind of deciding between whether I want a live blade or a trainer, because I'm not good enough to flip a live blade. And but I'm like, all of the rest of my Benchmade Balisongs are live blades. I'm like, do I want to complete the set?
Get the trainer.
The trainer I think is the best one in terms of colors and stuff. Blue with satin. Yeah.
It's also much cheaper. So
yeah, that's true. Anyway, I'm just really happy to see Benchmade back. With Balisongs, just because there's the whole history of traditional Balisongs being made here in the Philippines, and then Les Diaz's bringing it to the States, and then what's interesting is that whole history of Benchmade and Balisongs in the States in the modern flipper style is now coming back here and influencing how the traditional makers are building modern traditional Balisong. So it's that whole cultural circle of life.
It's coming,
thing.
So like the OGs are seeing what has been coming up in modern times and then like taking their spin on it. But it's like, as you said, not quite where the modern scene is.
Yeah. Okay. Because if you take a look at a modern high-end Balisong, which is like $500 to $700, it's going to be in premium steel. It's going to be in titanium handles. It's going to have all of the hallmarks of super high-end flipper like desirability in terms of features, like stuff like hidden Zen pins or like specific types of construction. The way they use the customizability of weights and having a clip and whatever, and the way if it runs on washers or bearings and stuff like that, all of those little things. I think this is not quite at that level. It's almost like it's halfway
there. Yeah, it's a step in the direction. Like here's like I think where the modularity comes into play, right? You can like add things to this and like it affects the weight, the haptics, the sonics.
And the black tips of it are actually spacers to give it a bit more length and give more balance and weight towards the handle, so it's a bit more balanced when you flip it. And that's an idea that came from the modding community.
Yeah,
where they would add spacers to the Benchmade 51 specifically because it was a bit short.
Yeah.
So they added those spacers to add a bit more length to give it more handle bias, so make it more balanced and make it more better for flipping. So there's a lot of back and forth. It's the whole history of Balisongs is so interesting, from how it started out as a traditional tool back here, and then turned into a hobby, into a flipping skill toy hobby, and now it's like influencing each other in a lot of ways. So it's just like that whole history of culture and hobby and all of that.
So I will say, so that's your reaction, which is great, and I appreciate that context and why you picked this. My reaction is kind of like, this is like not good for EDC. I think for most people. I think like you kind of need to be into flipping valleys for this to be really enticing to you. But even if you're not, like maybe you learn something about the history of Benchmade and the flipping community. So that's kind of cool. Yeah, I would not really recommend that people go out and get this as like an EDC knife. There's just like, it's missing a lot of things for that.
Definitely. And it's also not even legal in a lot of places.
Yeah, it's like not legal. It's expensive. It doesn't do. So it's funny because like we just talked about the Lightphone 3 and this thing. And it's like to normal people that are watching this, they might be like, what are these two on about? These are like the most niche, like unusable things. So I appreciate you guys sitting through that. Maybe they don't appeal to you, but they appeal to us and we just wanted to share. So with that said, we can probably head into our
we should move into questions.
Sure. So this is the Q&A segment from the community. We have like every Monday or so, we're going to post on our Instagram story. Like if you guys have any questions, you can also send us questions at podcast@everydaycarry.com as an email. But this first one is from Noir Scriber, who asks, how often do you cycle your pens and pencils? Do you categorize each day when it goes either in your pocket or in a bag? I don't think I use pens and pencils enough like to think about like on the day where it's gonna go like that. To be honest, I think I'm the type, like when it comes to my pens, I will probably just have one as a backup in my EDC pouch that I throw in a bag or something. And then maybe another backup in my car. It's not really something that will get dedicated pocket time unless I know I'm doing errands where I'm going to be writing stuff down, like labeling stuff, maybe going to the post office or just like doing those kinds of errands where I'm like signing forms, like going to the bank, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly the same. When I have a day out where I have to send packages and go to the bank and stuff, I do have one dedicated pocket in one specific sling, so I know exactly where my pen is, and I also have a dedicated drawer in my desk for where my pens are. Just from the perspective of I know exactly where I need to grab a pen if I need one. But other than that, it's I've been using the same pen for the past year, this titanium pen, and not really much frills to it. It's just the same pen I use. I don't write enough to, I think I've only gone through like a third of the ink, maybe. I don't write enough generally to be able to justify cycling through multiple of them. But yeah,
Yeah.
just to answer that question, I just have a dedicated space for where I know exactly where my pens are. So the moment I need it, I know where to get it.
When I did write a lot, when I was doing most of my note taking, language learning, and journaling on physical paper and like Japanese stationery and stuff, I
Mhm.
would cycle between fountain pens, but I would bring both of them because and just like pick which one for the mood. To be honest,
Oh,
so
this just unlocked a memory. When we first started talking, you had this really nice zebra Sharbo
the
multi pen
Sharbo
thing.
X, holy
Oh
yes,
man, that just unlocked that memory. Tell
yeah.
us about this multi pen thing that you had.
Oh, so that's when I was just a wee young Bernard trying to study to get into med school. So that was in my undergrad years. I don't know, it's like over a decade ago. And I was a heavy JetPens customer, but I thought that having like nice pens would help me get better grades. That's not how it works, by the way. If you guys are young and like in school and watching this, like you don't need to spend money on pens to like actually pass your classes. That's not how it works. But I had this multi pen that was like a brass barrel construction, so it had heft. But like I got them in a black finish and a leaf green finish. So cool.
Mm.
And they had it looked like the size of a regular like machined pen, but it could fit I think two inks. So I had a black ink and then a highlighter, like colored ink, and then also a mechanical pencil. And it fit all of that into this small pen body. Um,
Sweet.
but the trade off is since you're getting three different writing like refills or implements, they didn't last very long. And yeah,
Yeah, they were
it
shorter,
did
right?
yeah, it just didn't really work for that. But the design language was sick. The clip always broke, which is unfortunate because
Oh no.
it's like not really. It looks like it's made for EDC because it's like a metal body and like it can cram all the stuff into one pen, but no, it's not quite there. I would still recommend for people who are listening to just get like the F701 for EDC. Um,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah,
just remember that was one of
yeah.
my very early exposures into like the Japanese enthusiast stationery because I'd never
Mm-hmm.
seen anything. Because those like the kitty ones, right? Like the red, the blue, and the green standard multi pen type thing. So
I
that's
have
the
one like this,
yeah,
just
exactly.
like a
So
plastic. Yeah,
yeah, that's the one like I grew up with, and what I was used to, and is like, what's this zebra thing with an X in the name, and it's like mechanical pencil plus a pen, and it was brass, and like, yeah, one of the early stationary nerding out that we did before
yeah. I'm just showing my
pen collection.
pen cup that I keep on my desk. Yeah, most of my pen stuff I keep on the desk. Um,
Hmm. What's your favorite right now?
oh, this is in our last episode. This is the wingback mechanical pencil.
Oh, cool,
Um,
nice.
yeah, but dude, I think my favorite is always going to be where is it? It's not even here because I was
Lemmy,
actually using it. The Lamy 2000. Yeah,
right?
in
Classic,
Macrolon
classic.
broad nib. Anyway, thank you,
Nice.
Norscriber. I hope to like didn't have a great answer to that initially, but I hope you got some like pen content in there when we're talking about multi pens and whatnot. Um, so
Yeah.
appreciate that. What Cian Wilmot asks, what's your favorite method of deploying a knife?
Oh, ever since I learned it, reverse flick or Spidey flick. I've been
Yes.
doing it
Why are you
this whole
copying my
show.
answers? So yeah, my favorite method for opening a knife. Let's see if I can do it. I haven't used the PM2 in a while.
Hmm.
Reverse flick, that's fun. But Mikey and I love the spider drop or Spidey drop. Actually, some
Oh
people
no.
call the reverse flick the Spidey flick too, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been calling it all this time.
Okay, I can't do it right now.
And my
There
favorite
we
thing
go.
now is I've learned how to do it in both hands. So
Mm,
now all knives have been opened up to me. It does not have to be lefty anymore.
yeah, yeah,
I can
yeah.
do it in both hands.
There you
So that's
go.
been handy.
But I also like this. This is like one of my original favorite ways to deploy a knife. Uh, when I started EDC and I had spider codes, like that. That's a
Spidey
Spidey
drop.
drop where you hold the
Mm,
actual hole on the blade and use the weight of the handle. Um,
sweet.
but see
Wow,
what's
first
in
for the
here.
show, unboxing.
Yeah. I hope I don't dox myself here. And it'd be really funny if this is not an EDC
EDC
sample.
related.
Yeah.
It's like food or something.
It has my name on it. It says W.
All right.
So I wonder what this is. Okay. Can I show this?
What is it?
I don't think I can show this. I will say it's a flashlight, and it looks cool, and I'm kind of interested, but I don't think I'm allowed to show it on.
Yeah,
I
maybe
don't know
next
what
episode.
Yeah.
Subscribe so you see what was in the box.
I will say it looks cool and futuristic, and not like something I've seen before.
Huh.
I will just stop there. But
I don't even know what you're talking about. Maybe.
I mean, you probably ordered it for me, but
okay.
yeah.
All right,
so, yes, I enjoy reverse flick and.
Oh,
Spidey
my second favorite now is that nice lock when you're snapping in and out of a Kydex sheath. That just that's very satisfying.
Why don't you show people how you do that? Because I remember the first time I tried to do it, I was just like trying to yank the entire thing out. So dangerous. Like it helps. I think if you press with your thumb, just like to have a point of engagement. Yeah.
Yeah. Usually there's usually a ramp point where you can have your thumb on, and then you yank it with a handle.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But then my favorite is when it locks back into the Kydex.
It's like
very satisfying.
So good.
I love that. Yeah.
I will say one other type of deployment I like. It's actually, I was gonna say thumb rollover is also quite nice.
That's so uncomfortable to me. That's the one thing I haven't gotten like the hang of. Thumb roll. Where's the camera? Thumb rollover. I feel like I'm gonna let go with the rest of my fingers and drop the knife on my thigh. That's my problem with it.
I think to me that seems like a skill issue.
Most likely.
Yeah, my tip for that, maybe I should grab one.
I'm getting the hang of it, but I still enjoy the Spidey flick, reverse flick action more. And I've noticed it's improved my finger dexterity, learning how to do it in both hands.
Okay, so my tip for that is like you can follow this, like this line here, right? Mm. So like if you think about it that way, and you're just sort of tracing that with your thumb, that's what helps me like do the thumb rollover.
Also, for some weird reason, I'm left-handed, but it's more awkward on my left hand to thumb roll than on my right hand. So there is some skill issue going on here.
Yeah. That's why this guy's spending a lot of money on Balisongs thinking it'll help improve his dexterity. You can't do a manual thumb rollover.
That's right.
Makes a lot of sense. So another question from everyman_security. What non-traditional or oddball EDC items do you carry or have you seen?
I am going to take credit for this. For like 10 episodes ago, I showed this off and I had so many people talking among my circles who watched the episode who started buying one for themselves. This is the Jisoo Life handheld rechargeable fan, which is kind of like indispensable right now in summer over here because we're hitting 34 degrees on the regular Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit?
34? I don't know. It seems like close to 100 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, that's 93 degrees Fahrenheit regularly every single day.
That's crazy. And it's humid
so,
there. Yeah.
And it's humid. So this has kind of been essential. There are a lot of types of these, but I'm taking full credit for popularizing this specific one, this Jisoo Life.
All right, brand as well. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, so this is my oddball pick. Do you have anything?
Oh, if we're talking about like weird stuff for the summer, yes. This is the Matador Nano Tarp, I think. But basically, whenever so I've been spending a lot of time now that the sun sets at like 8 p.m., like after work, I'll go to the park and there's still sun and it's nice and warm and stuff. And I'll get some sunlight because like we sit here in the dungeon recording like podcasts while the sun is still up. So it's cool. I'm going to use this actually tonight and tomorrow night. But it's like a full, tarp, outdoor tarp that compresses into this built-in stuff sack. And it also has like stakes kind of built into the corner, so you can like stick it into the lawn or whatever.
And Matador also makes packable towels, packable beach towels.
Yeah, like
a lot of packable
toiletry
stuff.
containers, like a bunch of like minimalist, lightweight, water resistant travel stuff that is very EDCable. So now I
use their soap carrier. That's my favorite thing.
I just gotta like, ball this up and throw it over there and deal with it later. But yeah, that's one thing that I've been really enjoying as part of my summer carry. I didn't used to do that because I would not go outside, but now I'm touching grass, and it's nice to have that. There's an even smaller one. That one I think seats at least 2 people. So if not no humble brag, but if you have friends, if you're not just by yourself, that will serve that too. But I also have the Forever Alone version where it's just like you're
by yourself.
Yeah, your solitary ass just sits on the ground. But yeah, that one's even more EDCable. So yeah, I think that would be my answer for this question.
Hope that gives you some ideas for the summer, especially.
Yeah. Okay, I think we got a couple more questions. We have one more from our Discord. Christopher says, the Ridge wallet has never really appealed to me as a wallet, but I see potential as a sort of toolbox, a convenient and durable containment device for a set of occasionally used tools. I see this much like an Altoids kit where the package is easy to carry and content fairly easy to access. So my question, what would you put in this wallet-based toolkit for maximum functionality and versatility? Would you carry it in a Ridge or another style wallet? That's a long question. I need to drink water after. Yeah. So I will say, by the way, just in case everyone knows, Ridge is our parent company. So, but I will answer this as objectively as or not objectively. It is still subjective, but just honestly as I would. I would say the base Ridge wallet is not ideal for what you're describing. It is modular, right? Like you can unscrew the plates and like add in all this other stuff. And there is like a cavity tray accessory that they sell. But you can, if you really wanted to put in the effort, use the steel plate as a platform for like custom 3D printed scales, so to speak, for the outside. Just replace the actual metal plates or whatever the outer plates are on the Ridge wallet. But that's where like a lot of the cost comes from, and like a lot of what you're paying for. So I don't know. If I were to make that though, like I would make 3D printed scales or maybe even machine scales if I had unlimited resources, but it would house tools similar to the Victorinox Swiss card. If you guys know what that is, it's basically like
we'll
a card.
Have it on screen.
Yeah, it's like a credit card shaped plastic multi-tool thing. It's like the shape of a credit card, but in the way that in Victorinox Celador scales, you can fit in like a toothpick and tweezers. It has those built in into a credit card shape, but there's also a knife. There's like 4-way bit driver thing.
There's a pen.
There's a pen.
There's scissors.
Yeah, scissors. That's a huge one. I don't know if it would. I think all of that could fit in a Ridge format because Ridge is basically the size of a credit card itself. So it's like very similar.
I was actually thinking of my answer as you were describing that. And I just remember the perfect thing I would use that form factor for. There's a company called Grim Workshop. And what they make is keychain and card-sized survival tools. So if you take a look at the Grim Workshop site,
it's 2 M's, right? Or no, it's not. It's 1 M.
Yeah,
Grim.
It's 1 M.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got something from them before. It was like a survival glow in the dark card, basically. I think for like high vis. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff on here.
Yeah, so they have the standard like lockpicking stuff. They have the fishing stuff as well, but they have something called like the signature card, which comes with a pop-out blade, There's a bushcraft card which has a blade and also arrowheads if you need just like some survival stuff, and fish hooks
What
as
was it?
well.
Signature
The
survival card.
Zachary Fowler signature card.
Oh, there's like okay. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's a bushcraft card, but there's a lot of cards, and all of them are card sized. So if you empty out, if you don't carry like standard cards, or if you have a dedicated Rich Wallet style plate elastic system, and you can just stuff a bunch of these in there. There's a few of more, like 2 or 3 of them could probably fit in a standard Rich wallet. So
Yeah.
that would be my pick. Like just a couple of these, the sewing kit maybe, and the one with a knife, or like there's this Wania Thibault. I'm butchering that signature card. There's like it has a saw in it, plus a blade, plus needles and fishing hooks, and they've packed a lot of functionality in just the card. They're just perfecting the card form factor. So this would be my answer, similar to like the Swiss card. Yeah,
pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get a bunch of these. They're not that expensive either. There's like, what, this is $35-$40 each, or less.
Yeah,
I can't see it in US currency.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would say as far as the things I would add to a kit like that, especially if it's on like the Ridge platform, would be an AirTag. Just like, why not? And then I think something that can hold a spare key, or like 2,
which is the cavity
keys.
tray.
It could be the cavity tray, or it could be built into the like the outer scale if we make that. Right. But anyway, interesting question. I appreciate like those more like theory crafting kind of question.
Yeah. And also if you're not aware of other stuff like this, like a lot of people might not have heard of Grim Workshop, and that there are actually tools being made on this size. So it's always nice to share the knowledge of what's out there.
Yeah, good job, Mikey. I was surprised by that answer. And it totally makes sense. I have heard of Grim Workshop and I have some stuff for them, but like I didn't think about that in this context. So appreciate that. Yeah. Let's move on to pocket dumps. Yeah?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. This first submission is from Nico. And right off the bat, Nico says, sorry for my terrible English. We'll be the judge of that. What do we have in here? So there is
the most popular EDC keychain of all time, the remove before flight tag.
Dude, that used to be so popular in like 2013. What happened? Okay. Actually, some of this stuff is like fairly, the Trove wallet is also very Kickstarter 2013.
That's right. And Mighty Hanks even talking about it.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of classics.
What else
essential stuff
do we got here? I think the only things we didn't mention were the
James Brand tool.
Yes, so this is the Ellis knife that has scissors, combo edge, and I believe the end of it is a flathead / pry bar, can be used in that way. With a self-made paracord lanyard, so appreciate the little high vis orange paracord there, and then the Mighty Hank Mini in buffalo plaid, and then what else did they got? They got a MagSafe pop socket on their finish made case,
and this man RFID tags, because it's a lot of RFID tags. And it's the really annoying kind too. It's like it doesn't fit into anything except like a loose keychain. Those I hate those tags. I've hated those tags for so long. They're so unwieldy.
And then this is on this is not an RFID tag. This is I believe an AirTag on the Orbit Key Slim AirTag holder.
Sure.
So, and then the Victorinox Classic SD. So Nico says about their AirPods, it's nowadays just one of the most must-have things. Good ANC with amazing sound quality. Yes, I agree. I'm wearing them right now. And then they didn't want to carry a wallet anymore because all needed cards are in the phone. But sometimes you just need to have your ID card or credit, and then they like to carry that in the most slim way possible, and that's the Trove wallet. So Orbit Key Slim Case with AirTag is a secure way to carry keys and then find them if they lose them. Classic SD is just classic, that needs to be in the pocket. And they said, want to try something new and different, but same time familiar with SAKs. So the James brand Ellis with knife and scissors are close with SAK Compact. Using it now a month, it's good, and I really don't need anything more than knife opening packets, scissors cutting strings, and flathead to screws and opening bottles. Oh, so I guess it can be a bottle opener as well. In addition, Mighty Mini Buffalo Plaid should be carried in the back pocket as a pocket cloth, which has proven to be surprisingly practical for cleaning the phone, eyeglasses, sunglasses, etc. And slimmed down and useful set of essentials to carry and use daily. So
I mentioned
nice.
a few shows ago that the perfect Victorinox has already been created, but they don't make it anymore. The Voyager, EUR. And this is kind of like as close to that as possible. It's just the knife and the scissors.
And then
And
like a little
it's just
driver.
Yeah, and a 2-layer, very lightweight. And this is probably the closest to that you'll ever get. And yeah, really nice explanation of how he was exploring something sack-like while having exactly the functions that he needs. And yeah, I might get one of these, to be honest.
Yeah. Probably going to be more expensive than the SAK. But
absolutely.
Yeah. But dude, I have some James brand gear, and like, yes, it's expensive. Well, one, I don't pay for them, just to be just straight up. Like, yeah, like they send me stuff. But like when I look at them, I'm like, I could understand that people would pay for this, just because the design is there. I think like it has enough design value. But if you don't care about design value, then yeah, like don't get James brand stuff. And then my editor will clip just that sentence and then put it on social media, and I will get in trouble. Now, I think like James brand stuff, you have to look past just the pricing strategy when it comes to just the specs or whatever, because there is like an intangible design value there. But I think people.
So you're saying it's a fashion accessory?
Yeah, it's like I feel like just people are not willing to admit that. Like some people pay more for design value.
True.
When it comes to like what's supposed to be like practical gear, like of course it's practical. It's just like people like to compare it to things that are cheaper, but like not designed in the same way, or like even like in a competitive way when it comes to this like positioning in the market, right? So it's just like sometimes it feels like not in good faith, and I just felt like saying that. So. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Nico, for this submission. Quite nice.
And for the thought process, we love seeing the whole thought process with how you select stuff. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, and your English is fine. I probably have like worse reading comprehension trying to say that out loud than you did writing it. So thank you. Looking forward to your next submission. Next, we got one from Jorge, and Jorge is a mechanical engineer saying my overall basic EDC for every day. So it's a Samsung S22 Ultra with a D brand skin, an aluminum key bar, AirPods, a Bellroy wallet, Spyderco Salt H1, Dunlop guitar pick, Urban Survival tie scribe titanium pen V2, and then the same pen in brass.
I have this exact same knife. And I really, really love, because it's based on the Dragonfly, which is one of my favorite Spyderco models. Yeah, it's really, classic. Really light. I call it magic ergonomics because it feels like I'm holding it with my full hand, but it's super tiny. This is almost keychain knife territory.
Yeah.
But it's really, really nice. And the H1 is one of Spyderco's earliest attempts at a rust-proof steel, and it has lived up to that. Unfortunately, H1 specifically dulls really, really fast. Like you breathe on it, it starts dulling already. So I haven't gotten to try H2 or LC200N to compare with H1, but I'm probably sure they're going to be much better. And we have MagnaCut now as well as a comparison. But this was the original like Dragonfly sized H1 Salt series, that size. And yeah, I still have it. I still have it in my go bag. So yeah, I really like that.
Nice. It's funny because like the knife here is like one of the smallest items in this carry. Usually that's not the case. Like it looks smaller than the key bar and even the AirPods. like this carry makes this Belroy wallet seem gigantic, but I know that like it's not. It's just like the scale of everything else, and I guess how tightly cropped this image is makes it seem that way. I mean, maybe they could get a more minimalist wallet, but this might work.
That's actually a Belroy messenger bag.
No. And one thing that I think is interesting is, to Noir Scriber's question, it's like there are two pens here, right? And it's like identical pens, just different materials, supposedly. And Thai Scribe, their bolt action pen, I think is interesting in that I believe the clip is the bolt action mechanism itself.
Yeah, looks like it.
I haven't used one, but I think they're well regarded. The Urban Survival Gear Thai Scribe. So
we haven't seen Keybar in a minute, but one of my favorite things about Keybar in general is they produce a lot of aftermarket tools. So they can, it's not just a key organizer. They also sell like a knife. They also sell like additional add-ons that you can attach as part of the pivot system. And it's specifically designed to be sized to fit into that, into the sandwich of how they do it. So if you're looking for an extra, like from the earlier question about using like the Ridge style double plate system. So this is basically that in key organizer.
In key form, yeah. So it's a little bit smaller of a platform, not quite credit card. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about those. Like I've tried what's it called? Like Key Smart, for example, and like Key Port, all those, like they have those other implements and stuff. I don't like having my tools be where my keys are, I guess, because when I want to use tools, like I don't want like keys in the way, if that makes sense. That's why like I'll have it on the keychain, but with like a quick release or at least a split ring, just to be able to fully manipulate the tool and get it to where it needs to be used, and not like fighting with the bulk of my keys. So that's my personal, So.
Or you can take half of a Micra.
Yeah, and then take all the tools and just throw those away, and then that's what I did. So Mikey's alluding to some Bernard lore, very old Bernard lore on Flickr, if you guys remember what Flickr is before Instagram. But
our backs are just hurting.
I can feel the grays, just like, anyway. Solid minimal setup, IMO, and two cool
allowed
pens.
us to talk about the tiny knife and the versatile keyboard.
Yeah. So thank you, Jorge, for this. We will move on to one from Jesse Rodriguez on Facebook. Jesse is a mechanical designer in Brazil, mostly working at home and randomly working in present. I'm not sure what that means. But their description is mixing classic and modernity, keeping illuminated and connected. Oh, so we can see that in the multiple flashlights here. So they have a Wuben G2, Wuben Mini. What else do they got? Their iPhone. There's like a lot of stuff in here that to be honest, I'm not fully familiar with, because a lot of this stuff seems to be from Brazil and just, not our market, or the markets that I'm familiar with.
The one thing that immediately stood out for me here is that little tiny hook beside the keys.
This one?
That is,
this is that one Kickstarter where it's like the tiny bottle opener.
Yeah. So that's like the smallest bottle opener. Yeah. So I've never seen it in the wild, so yeah, nice to see it now.
Yeah. This looks interesting. The next tool.
Next tool has a whole line of multi-tools that are very affordable. If you're looking, I think we talked about this in the multi-tool episode, but they have a whole line of not exactly they're more budget aligned. Yeah. And they come in a lot of different sizes. So this is one of the smaller ones, but very comparable size, very comparable functionality. But yeah, it's a nice third option if you're not looking to spend Victorinox or Leatherman type cash. Yeah.
So it's similar. It looks kind of like a like a key organizer, right?
Sure.
But it does have like a knife and scissors and like screwdriver. But it's all like on like one post, kind of like the what's it called? Like the T series of Leatherman, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So there's that. And then dude, I haven't
Older
seen a
Ruben
flashlight
flashlight.
like this, with just like this like 5 millimeter LED kind of sticking
The
out. Like I
photon
haven't seen,
style.
yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and same with the utility. This like the Swiss Tech utility. This is like very old
Classic.
school EDC. I don't think it really holds up now, to be honest. But it's working for them. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I've heard. I like somebody in our Discord was just asking recently that what is a knife that can disappear on your keychain, and I think this
Mm.
is one of those times where,
Oh, right.
yeah,
Yeah.
the
And
Swiss
it would
key.
I had a key setup, a keychain setup that used the utility key as well as there. Remember when people used flash drives?
Wow.
There's a flash drive. I think it's called the Lacy or like Lacier, and it was shaped like a key. And I just had that was like one of my first EDCs where it's just like a big keyring, like a janitor
Oh
style
wow.
keyring
That
on
just took
a
me back.
aircraft mechanic cable like ring. So it just doesn't work. But like all the tools were shaped like keys so that it would be very inconspicuous. But
Mhm.
now it's like cool to have an EDC. So frick me, I guess. Like frick younger me for trying to like hide my passion. Um, anyway, this is definitely like very well illuminated and connected EDC with all the tech involved. So
And shout outs to the Apple Watch as well. Talking about the Apple Watch.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mainly appreciate this is like a perspective on a different part of the world that
Yeah.
we're not a part of. So it's super cool. Thank you, Jesse Rodriguez, for sharing this. And then we'll move to our last EDC for today. This is from at Wilderness Knocking on Instagram and at Jordan Vale on X. Um,
Mm.
so they are
Yeah.
an industrial maintenance tech slash sponsored outdoorsman based in Wisconsin. Congrats on the sponsorship. Some of us are still working towards that.
Yeah, I know. I was about to
Yeah.
say.
So uh, Jordan says, most of my carry has been developed around a previous line of work as a private security contractor for the government and have been developed to fit my needs in daily life now. So I have 3 stages of carry: on my body, in my bag, and in my vehicle. This is the on body necessities for me. So there's a cutting slash repair tool, something to stop a bleed, some comms, something to write with and mark things, a light to see and can be used in defense if needed, wallet to carry cash, and identify myself. I'm outdoors on my free time more than I am in a building, either shooting archery, hunting, fishing, or other activities. So this is able to get me by on a daily basis. And starting from left to right, we have the Snake Staff Systems ETQ tourniquet.
I've been wanting to buy like a whole pile of these.
Uh huh.
For people who don't know, the standard CAT tourniquet. What do you call it? What does CAT stand for? Combat Application Tourniquet was a CAT
Yes.
tourniquet. There's a very standard one that's recommended to be used. And Snake Staff Systems a few years ago developed this really small one. It's much thinner, it's much smaller, and it's also a bit more affordable. It's not as wide or as fully feature complete as the standard CAT one, but just from the perspective of shrinking it down to something that you would always carry has made it kind of like an invaluable. It's actually in my book right now as their choice of emergency tourniquet. So if you're
Oh, I
looking
was like,
for,
you're carrying a tourniquet in your book? No, you're reading a book
yeah, sorry,
and
yeah,
they
exactly,
recommend, yes. Okay.
yeah. So if you're looking for a trauma kit and trying to slim it down as convenient and as compact as possible, yeah, Snake Staff Systems ETQ is probably the one you want to be looking at.
Nice. And then moving on, some more, we have the Olight O Pen, the Olight Arcfeld Pro. So that's the one with the UV and the laser and the flashlight.
Mm,
Leatherman Signal. So that's the
mm,
outdoorsy Leatherman and this cool green color. Samsung Galaxy S24 in this like matching green case, and then a hide and drink bifold leather wallet.
How do you like the Arcfelt, sorry.
Arcfelt. I didn't really carry it around much because I'm not, I don't know, not super into
lasers.
Like no, I mean, well, I think lasers are cool. That used to be part of what I studied, but no, I just don't need like this big of a light, I guess. It's not even that big, to be honest. And it's the whole appeal of the Arcfelt is that it's the slim candy bar shape, so it fits like alongside
Apple remote.
Yeah, it's like yeah. People always joke in the comments like when we have an EDC that has one of these, they're like, oh, I thought that was an Apple remote. But no, like I don't know. I've like when I do carry a flashlight, I want something even smaller usually. So at right now, biggest I think is like that one loop SK03. Yeah. But it's still kind of big. I like the Rovivon keychain lights, to be honest. So that's kind of what I stick to.
There is a nice, the real standout for me here is the description of how he described his 3-stage carry, the on body, in bag, and in vehicle. That's very, very, how do I describe it? That's very complete, comprehensive.
Yeah, comprehensive.
And I think that's a nice idea to always think about something that's useful on your person, something that's useful that's within reach, and something useful in terms of an emergency. So it's nice, like at home I have a go bag, like a small go bag just in case for emergencies, and I have 3 stages of slings depending on how light I want to carry for the day. And on myself it's usually just my phone and maybe some cash or something. Yeah. So nice piece of advice there, honestly.
Yeah, and it's nice to hear that like articulated with some intentionality, because to be honest, I think I have sort of done the same thing, but I didn't really think of it that way. But looking at how I carry, it's like, yeah, I do that actually. I have the stuff in my pockets, and then I have stuff that I just offload to my bag that I'll bring with me, and then I have stuff that's like always in the car. Like I have EDC pouches and like first aid kit, change of clothes, like stuff like that. It's in the car, and that makes room for making like activity specific little setups or like micro EDCs.
Yes.
And that's why I had the tarp, because I was actually building out like a picnic EDC, just like touch grass EDC. So I have like a tote bag that's like waterproof, and then I have the tarp, and then I was gonna put like a little outdoor cushion thing from Snow Peak to just like chill on. It's like kind of putting that together, but it's just cool to think about having levels and layers to your system of carry.
You don't have to wear,
find yourself.
You don't have to wear cargo pants and stuff everything in your pockets all the time, everywhere for everything.
Yeah, well, if you want to look cool and attract the ladies, yes, you do, Mikey.
Yeah, okay. Or if you're going to like shot show and fit in.
But yeah, I think this is a cool EDC, very comprehensive, and I like the ideas behind it. I also appreciate the color choices too, like having this.
Very, very nice use of olive green and olive drab.
I love that green. So thank you. Wilderness Knocking will have your tag on screen in case anyone wants to follow you for more of that content. If you guys want to be featured in the EDC Pocket Dump Reviews segment, then you can always go to our website, and then in the top banner there's going to be a submit your EDC link. We'll also link this in the description, and if you don't want to fill out that form, makes it easier for us. If you do, though, you can also send us an email at the podcast at everydaycarry.com email. So that just about wraps it up for today's episode. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you did, please subscribe. If you're listening through a podcast service and you really enjoy what we do here, please consider leaving a review and a positive rating, as it would really help the podcast. And you can follow us on social media for more content daily on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and all of that will be linked below. If you want to be part of our EDC community, feel free to hop into our Facebook group or Discord server for more real-time discussion with other EDCers. Lastly, if you have any feedback for us or questions you want answered on the show, you can shoot us an email at podcast@everydaycarry.com. I am personally curious what people think of this new 3-segment show format. I think it's really fun, and we get to talk about a lot of stuff. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So thank you so much for listening to Carry the Way. I'm Bernard.
I'm Mikey.
And until the next one, peace.